So you bought beef?
Yes, and I can take it out of your house. I won't even cook it.
Meet Palle Bo, a digital nomad from Denmark on an epic journey around the world.
My name is Palle Bo, and I'm a long-time radio producer. In 2013, I started planning to become a digital nomad and a full-time traveler. 3 years later, I had sold my house, my car, and all my furniture. And in July 2016, I set out on a quest to visit every country in the world. In this podcast, I'm taking you along on my journey.
This is the Radio Vagabond podcast.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. A long drive.
Yeah, so you came from downtown?
I came from Nashville.
It was a 310-mile drive from Steve's place in Nashville to my next couchsurfing host, Canty, in the outskirts of Indianapolis in Indiana.
What a nice area.
Thank you.
I'm staying here 2 nights, and tomorrow I'm going exploring Indianapolis. Especially I want to go to the Motor Speedway to find out just how obsessed people are with race cars right here, where they do the world-famous Indy 500.
How long was the drive from there?
I started around 10 o'clock. And then I took some breaks along the way. And it was my plan to drive to Cincinnati, just to see that quickly and then here. But I decided that was too long a detour. So.
A funny observation here in the U.S. is that most Americans, they don't really know where Denmark is. Well, some of them know that it's in the northern part of Europe, but a lot of them, they think that we're Holland or the Netherlands. I've noticed that a lot of them, they think that we speak Dutch in Denmark. And in case you don't know, Dutch and Danish, which is the language we speak in Denmark, is very much not the same. Dutch sounds just as funny to us Danes as it does to all you English-speaking people. And I even met a guy that when I said I come from Denmark, he said, well, I haven't really been to Denmark, I've only been to Amsterdam. I went to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which is a legendary place for race fans. I met up with Berny, who works at the museum here and has a real passion for race cars. This is where they drive the Indy 500.
Yes, this is the home of the Indianapolis 500. We just completed our 101st running of the 500 in May.
Wow. So what kind of cars is it?
These cars are specially built. It's called Indy Racing, IndyCar Racing. They're Indy cars.
What makes them different?
They're close to Formula One, but these is open wheel racing, which is so is Formula One. There's 2 choices of engines. There's a Honda and a Chevrolet engine. There's only one manufacturer of the chassis right now. Oh. So all the cars are pretty much alike and stuff.
That's
one
that's different than many races.
Yes. I mean, Formula One, you have various car builders, engine manufacturers or so. Here there's only 2 choices right now. They would like to get a 3rd or 4th engine someday.
Yeah. So it comes really much down to the skills of the driver.
They're real close. So it all boils down to the driver's the one that's got to perform.
Okay. So it's not like the Chevy wins over the Honda every year.
No, they're mixed in.
You're listening to the Radio Vagabond podcast. Before we continue, I want to remind you that I have a Facebook page where I share a lot of thoughts, pictures, and videos. You'll find it by going to facebook.com/PalleRadioVagabond. We're standing in the museum. What do you have here? I see some of the old cars as well.
Well, in the room we're standing in right here, we're focusing on A.J. Foyt's career. This is an A.J. Foyt exhibit.
He was a legend.
He was a legend, a driver. He started in 35 consecutive Indianapolis 500s. That's a record that...
How many?
35 years in a row.
Wow.
He started the race. So that is a record that probably will stand forever
Yeah.
because no one close to that now. And behind us here is a car, chassis, a tub of a car that was crashed on Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin.
So we can sort of see the development of the cars. How old are the oldest and how new are the newest in here?
He's the last driver to win in a front engine car, 1964. The next year they was all rear engine cars.
There's something classic about those front engine cars.
Oh, yeah.
Besides having a museum here, they also do VIP trips to the track itself. And they have a tour they call Kiss the Bricks Tour.
You stop at the Yard of Bricks and you get to kiss the bricks. The original Yard of
That's for the hardcore fans.
Yeah, that's where the Kiss the Bricks tour come about. Because Kiss the Bricks is a relatively recent tradition. Because it started in 1996 when Dale Jarrett won the Brickyard 400. He stopped and motioned for his crew to come out and join him at the Yard of Bricks, and they all knelt down together and kissed the bricks. Because the place was so sacred to win here, any race, whether it's an IndyCar race or NASCAR or what, it's special to win here. So the Yard of Brick, it still stands at their finish line. The start-finish line is a Yard of Brick going across the track. So,
Have you ever been a driver yourself?
nope. I just grew up. I've started coming to Speedway probably in 1959, I believe it was, my first practice.
I'm back on the road. I left Indianapolis in Indiana, and my couchsurfing host, Kanti, an Indian girl, and she lives in a very beautiful area in the outskirts of Indiana in the northern part. And I spent 2 nights with Kanti as my couchsurfing host. The first night she made me some real traditional Indian food, which tasted absolutely great. And to show my appreciation, I said to her, why don't I cook you some typical Danish food tomorrow night? And she said, that would be nice. So yesterday I went shopping. I decided to make, we call it bøf med bløde løg. Repeat after me, bøf med bløde løg. It's minced beef, and then we cook the onions in a special way, so it's kind of soft onions, and we put that on top of the beef, and then we eat it with potatoes and gravy. It's a very traditional Danish way of cooking it. So I went shopping, and it wasn't until I came home and was unpacking my groceries that it dawned on me, oh my God, she's Indian, and here I am buying beef. What am I thinking? So when I came home, Kanti was sleeping on the couch, so I was unpacking, and when she woke up, I admitted my terrible mistake to her.
I just I bought some stuff to make you this Danish dinner, and then just as I walked in the door, I had, oh my God, you're Indian.
Yeah, I'm vegetarian.
Not only did she not eat beef, of course she didn't eat beef. What was I thinking? But she didn't eat meat at all. She's a vegetarian.
Oh, you're a vegetarian? Well,
Would have been nice to know before I went shopping. I told her that I could take the beef out of her house.
So you bought beef?
yes, and I can take it out of your house. I won't even cook it. I'll just throw it away.
If you want, you can cook it and eat, but I don't eat this.
No, of course you don't. Well, I bought some other stuff as well, but I don't know how to cook vegetarian. I don't know any Danish dishes, vegetarian dishes.
My neighbor said even she will come for dinner.
She vegetarian as well?
No, she is not vegetarian. She is from Panama.
But she said that she invited a Panamanian friend over, a next door neighbor, and she eats meat, and I'll just eat what else you have. And so I started cooking. I fixed the potatoes, I put it on the stove, and 2 minutes later the fire alarm went blasting. It was because the heating on this stove was very, very hot. For some reason it didn't have any handles, but I could fit the potatoes in there, and then I turned the heat a little bit down, and then I was boiling the potatoes in that one. Later, when Canty saw this, she said, "Oh, that can't take the heat. Did you use that one? This is for my rice cooker. It's not meant to put on the stove." And I was deeply sorry and apologized. I did that a lot, actually, in that kitchen, because I seemed to do everything wrong. Like when I was filling the dishwasher, there was a certain system on what goes in the bottom of the dishwasher and what goes in the top. And even though I did put the stuff in the top that was meant to be there, Canty was reorganizing the whole thing, and she had a special system to what goes where. Also, there were 2 pieces of cloth, one hanging on the stove and one hanging on the fridge, and the one on the stove was meant for using to clean the stove, so the more dirty things, and the one on the fridge was only meant to wipe your hands. I did not know this. Also, I made another mistake. When I was cooking the beef on the frying pan, I put the plastic tools sort of resting on the frying pan, which I shouldn't do, and she was correcting me on that one as well. But I was told that her neighbor would come over between 7 and 7:30. At 7:30, I asked, "When did you say your neighbor was coming?" She said, between 7:30 and 8. She showed up at around 9 o'clock. Yeah. We ate the food, and even though the potatoes were a little bit cold by then, I reheated them in the microwave, and the steak was a little bit dry from being on the frying pan for an hour and a half. My Danish dinner was a huge success, and especially her neighbor really praised it a lot and said, "Can I have the recipe?" So there you go, my Danish cooking experience in Indiana.
That was almost it for this episode. In a moment you can hear where I'm going after Indianapolis. But before that, let me remind you that I would be so thrilled if you would give me some stars in Apple Podcast or in your podcast app. And if you have a few minutes, please write a few lines in a review. It helps other people find this podcast. You can reach me on mail if you have any feedback or questions or tips for me on what to see and who to talk to when I get to a new destination. I promise that I'll answer any email I get on mail@theradiovagabond.com. You can follow me real time, where I am right now, on the official Facebook page, facebook.com/PalaRadioVagabond, and on Instagram and Twitter as Radio Vagabond. Find all these links at theradiovagabond.com, where you can also see a lot of pictures. For example, you can see me sitting in a race car, and then you'll find some pictures of my cooking.
Now I'm heading towards Ohio. My final stop tonight will be in Toledo in the northern part of Ohio, but first I need to go to Amish country. I found a place called Walnut Creek. It's a bit of a drive today, but it's going to be exciting to get there.
This episode is brought to you in part by Hotels25.com. Please use it and save time and money next time you need a hotel. It actually works. My name is Paula Bo. See ya.